Good morning, good afternoon. It is the afternoon now. So we've all heard this quote: insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And that is by Albert Einstein. And I say good morning, good afternoon. It's Amanda Golightly from Align Natural Health and also.
Kate McDowell.
And what I'm going to start with is just by painting a picture for you. So when you think of, for example, someone who has allergies, when you have those allergies and you're experiencing those symptoms, what is it what do you do with that? You end up going either to the pharmacy or somewhere to get an over the counter, or you're going to your doctor and you're looking, and you usually end up getting a prescription of some sort. So in time, the allergy symptoms would go away from using that medication or over the counter. But does it solve the problem? And do the allergies come back? And they usually do. So,
So
Kate.
this is just tying that into like this Albert Einstein quote. It applies to how we deal with our health too, right? Because the allergies, like Amanda said, we often do this over and over again. We keep going and getting the medication, the prescription, the over the counter, the allergy symptoms go away for a bit and then they come back again. So it's just rinse and repeat. And doing the same thing over and over doesn't fix the problem because medication is not looking at the cause. It's not looking at the reason why. Why do you have the allergies to begin with, right? And if you're asking why do you have the symptoms? Why do you have this issue? And look at the cause, or are you just focusing on suppressing the symptoms only? So these are the main causes that we look at when we're addressing working with new clients because we focus on the cause. That's the difference when you're looking at holistic health a lot of the times versus allopathic medicine. So the causes that we look at to figure out why you're having the problems are things like food. Do you have food sensitivities? Is there something that your body is not functioning properly because you're consuming it? Are there bugs in your system? So this could be parasites. We had a wild full moon this past a couple days ago, I guess, and the symptoms associated with parasites with a bunch of our clients have been pretty incredible. The bugs could also be things like bacteria, could be Lyme, could be viruses. Other symptoms or other causes are things like mold, radiation, toxins, chemicals, heavy metals are all causes that we see sometimes. And then stress is another really big one at times.
So we thought we'd get into some of the success stories that we've seen with our clients. And basically, I'm just going to go through. I'm going to read off what they told us, and then we're going to kind of explain how we got there. So the first one we have is, my clothes feel really good. I don't feel puffy anymore. So generally the typical approach to that, if we're feeling either puffy or there's an excess weight, the typical go-to is, okay, I'm going to work out more because it's the calories versus calories in, and then we address, I'm going to eat less than what I normally would.
Yeah.
And
And and if
go
we're
ahead.
not looking if we're not looking at the root cause, like this is an outside in approach for sure. We're looking at, what the problem is from the outside and trying to figure out like, okay, so how can I make that symptom go away? Because weight is a symptom.
Yes.
Everything that we're going to talk about today, these are all symptoms and they're often not seen that way, but it's the truth. And when we look at the cause, so our approach, we found out why. Why did this client have the extra weight? Why
Mhm.
were they struggling to lose the weight? And when we started to focus on that, we were able to make a really big difference. For this client, their main issue that came up of why she wasn't able to lose the extra weight was related to her liver. She had kind of sluggish motion and activity in her liver. And this is our main detox organ in the body. So if
Mhm.
it's not able to clear toxins properly, we're going to have problems. This is someone who was eating well, who was exercising consistently, but she was still finding she had a punch around her middle, as she mentioned it, that wasn't moving. And this is because it was being addressed from an outside in approach. And when we shifted it and started looking at why are you dealing with these symptoms, she's had incredible results.
Yeah, so exciting to hear. And here is another one. Someone told us, my skin looks amazing. So usually when we have any sort of skin issue, as I know myself, the typical approach would be some sort of outside product. Basically, you're putting a makeup on there to cover up blemishes or some sort of something that we don't like on our face. It could be a face cream or cleaner, steroid cream, which was my case with the issues I've had with my hands, or it could even be the pill. That's a common one that even younger people are given, say, okay, you have issues with this for acne, let's throw you on the pill and that'll help you. And what's our approach?
So yeah, I mean, a lot of the times too, when we go, medication's always going to have side effects too, which is a whole different live. But using our approach, like, we've talked about already, looking from the inside, why are you dealing with these symptoms? And for this client, what we figured out was that the blemishes and the skin trouble, her main cause that came up was parasites. And as I mentioned, parasites have been wild the last week or so. And so, parasites are a pain in the butt. They rob us of our nutrients. They cause all kinds of problems in our gut microbiome. And literally, they can make a huge difference in terms of all kinds of things like anxiety, like energy, like mental clarity. But skin issues is one that we'll often see with parasites as well. And this is a client, this was a woman who didn't eat a lot of sugar or processed foods, which are things that often can be linked, can be connected to skin issues. But hers was actually connected to parasites in her small intestines. And like I said, parasites are little brats. They rob us of nutrients. They rob us of vitamins and minerals, and these are important for optimal skin health. So this was a really big problem. But when we started addressing the cause and started working on the parasites, she had somebody say to her, like, your skin looks fantastic. I think it was a mother-in-law or an aunt or a family member. And yeah, she was really excited to hear that because it had been
Yeah,
a struggle for a while.
that's really cool too. If that's something you didn't expect to come out of it, all of a sudden you're getting this compliment about, oh, this is amazing. You look great. It's like, wow, okay, awesome.
Yeah.
And just to keep going with that, another testimony or comment we had was, I just feel calmer, even with a lot going on at work. And that's really huge. That's really, really huge. The typical approach for if someone's, I don't know if it was anxiety or whatever the case is, sometimes you end up going on medications or you just deal with it because you don't know what the other options are.
Yeah. And again, looking from the inside, we figured out why this client was dealing with feeling anxious and feeling overwhelmed at work and in life in general, even on the weekends. And the cause for her was actually radiation, which is something is very near and dear to my heart
Yes.
because radiation's been problematic for me as well, as we're on computers right now.
All the
Um,
screens.
but like radiation can cause difficulty concentrating, and that alone can make it hard to, function properly throughout your day at work, to remember to do the things that you need to do to get everything done. So when there's a lot going on at work, you know, uh, difficulty concentration trading, geez, can be problematic, and radiation can play a really big role in that.
Right on. So the next one is, my energy is the best it's ever been. What an amazing thing to hear back from a client. So
Yes.
a lot of people, especially around this time of year, because it could be a stressful year for people coming to the end of the year, as far as the actual date can be concerned, and the holidays are coming up. There's a lot of stresses around that. So maybe the energy for people is not where they want it to be. And what's the usual thing we go to? We're going to go to some sort of caffeine. We're going to go to a sugar or carby thing, maybe an energy drink, as that's going to be the afternoon pick me up, or maybe the evening or morning pick me up, depending on how how much you're being impacted by whatever's going on in your life. So this is kind of the usual approach where we will take what approach?
I mean, that's problematic too because it's a roller coaster, right?
Yeah.
Like you have some caffeine and you go
Yes.
up and then you come back down and then you're up and then you're back down all day long. So then it's like the pick me up, like you said, becomes the morning pick me up, the afternoon pick me up, the evening pick me up, and it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
So using our approach, we found out for this client the why she was dealing with the low energy was her adrenals needed support. So, going on this cycle of the energy up, energy down, energy up, energy down. Over time, the adrenals are just like waving the white flag, like, I can't do this anymore. So, some support for adrenals made a really big difference. And once again, this one was dealing with parasites. And like I said, they can rob us of vitamins and minerals, which the body needs to function properly. Your adrenal glands aren't going to function properly if you're lacking the nutrients that they need. Your thyroid isn't going to function properly. Your heart, like everything's going to suffer if you're not having the nutrients that you need. And you may be eating all the right things, but if you're eating them and you're just feeding the bugs inside of you,
Yep.
you're not going to get the benefit of everything that you're eating too.
All right. Next up, I don't have the week of torture, before my period anymore. Oh my God. Typical approach, the
There.
uh, torture of periods could be the intestinal cramps, the regular cramps, sorry, not intestinal cramps. And what is your go-to with that? It's going to be some sort of over-the-counter Midol, Advil, something, whatever will ease it, right? Because at that moment, you just want to be able to get on with your day. And if you can't, whatever approach you need to do to get that, you're going to do it.
Yeah. And that's definitely been my experience in the past. I've talked about that a bit before. I used to have periods from hell, which I
You
don't want
just
to
say it.
say,
It's
but
the truth, right?
they were awful. And yeah, the cramps were awful, the
Mm-hmm.
headaches were awful, the energy was really low. I was like really not a nice person. There were so many things that happened leading up to my period.
Yeah.
And I did the same thing because I didn't know any better. I would work, from the outside in. I was like, what can I do to make these period
Mm-hmm.
headaches go away? No pun intended. Um, but using our approach, we found out why this client was dealing with these issues. And it was actually, she needed liver support. Because when our liver is not being supported properly, the body is not going to be able to detox the excess hormones that are circulating through our system. And when there's excess hormones in our system, like that's when we can have all kinds of symptoms, a lot of these as well, leading up to your period, but things like acne, things like, yes, the irritability,
Mm-hmm.
my kids, my coworkers, my spouse, they all hide from me during, the week leading up to my period. If your body's not able to detox properly, you're going to have excess hormones, which are problematic.
Mm-hmm.
So it causes a whole mess of symptoms.
All right, very good. And our last one here we have is this person said, I had some wine on the weekend and I didn't have a killer headache the next morning. So we've all had those moments in our life at some point or another, whether it was yesterday or years ago, where we've been out and it may not be like a crazy night of drinking. It's just you had one drink and you're then affected by some sort of headache with it. And of course, then again, we go to some sort of painkiller to deal with that, because sometimes if you don't deal with it right away, it then becomes worse. So that's our typical approach. But what's our approach for it?
So using our approach again, we test all the organs and glands in the body. And for this client, we found out specifically for the having wine and having headaches in the past and a mad hangover. Like she said she'd go out and have one glass of wine and she felt so hungover the next day. And this is often an indication that there's something going on in the body, but for this client, she was dealing with liver issues. Our liver has more than 500 vital functions that it has to do.
Crazy.
One of which, it is crazy.
Yeah,
It's like the
a lot of
superhero.
jobs.
It is a lot of jobs and like important ones. And one of them is detoxifying the body of things like alcohol, of toxins, of all the environmental toxins we come in contact with in our food, in our beverages, everywhere. But when the liver gets backed up and sluggish, this can happen when it's overworked or when it's not given the support that it needs. And this is when a hangover can happen on even a small amount of alcohol. So getting the liver support that she needed, is the reason that she was able to have a glass of wine on the weekend and like feel fine afterwards. Like we do talk to people about food because as a nutritionist, like I do talk to people and test them for food because it is one of the kind of root
Mm-hmm.
causes that we see. But we're not the food police. Like if you're going to go and have a glass of wine, great, but we want to make sure that your body's able to manage it properly so you don't feel like death the next day, right?
There's still a balance in life. You still want to actually
Yeah.
enjoy yourself and enjoy foods and other things, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the important thing with all these client wins that we've shared, and we love having these wins to share with you, tip is that the typical approach to handling them doesn't always consider the why. Why are you struggling? Why are you having this symptom? And the way we want to approach it is, what's the cause? Our clients have amazing results and working with us, and it's because that's the first place we start. We look at what's the cause, why are they having these symptoms? And the technique we use is quantum nutrition testing. And we use that to find the cause. And then we can find out what that individual needs to be supported, what their body needs to be supported, what they need to get rid of. And it's quite really, it's an amazing tool that we have been introduced to, and we're quite grateful. I know I am for sure to have been introduced to it. So it's just something wonderful that we can share. Yeah, it's very awesome.
Yeah, I mean, on a personal level, we both have used quantum nutrition
Absolutely.
testing. We've worked with practitioners to be able to help our own, health improve as well.
Hmm.
And so, we're sharing this with you because this is something that's often not talked about enough. And so we want to share this message as much as possible because a lot of the times, you know, people don't realize that there are other options. That
Hmm.
was kind of the case for me in the past too, is like going to the doctor is the way that we're often raised to believe like that's what you do when things aren't working
That's right.
when you're not functioning properly. And ultimately, there are other options is basically, the message that I really want to get across. And so we do have a special. So as we said, we're both from Aligned Natural Health, which is, this is what we do for people. We do quantum nutrition testing. We help define the cause of what you're dealing with. Then we can figure out what the body needs to get back in balance. And this is why our clients have such amazing results, because we're dealing with the cause and we're giving the body what it needs to get back where it is in balance and where it's functioning properly. So if this is something that was interesting for you, we have a special this month, a December special, for our new clients, where you can book an assessment bundle. And how the assessment bundle works is you get 2 appointments with us. So the initial appointment is just kind of get all your information, get all the everything that we need to know. Then we do quantum test you from head to toe, all your organs and glands, to find out the cause, to find out what's going on with you. And we test again to figure out what your body needs to get back into balance, and then talk about your next steps. And on your next appointment, we go through everything with you. So this is on sale this month for $99, which is the lowest price it's ever been. And probably the lowest time, or the only time it will be this price, will be in December this month. So I'm going to drop the link in the comments of this video if you would like to learn more. You can also message either of us if you have any questions. But go to the link, check it out, book your first appointment. We'd be more than happy to help you, and we'll love to see you as one of our success stories in the future.
Yes, absolutely. I will mention as well, I will jump in that all our appointments are virtual. So no matter where you are in the world, we are available to help you if you want to reach out to us.
Yeah, that's a really good message to say
Yep.
because we are in Ontario, Canada. And I get asked that all the time. Like, how do I work with you if you're so far? We have clients in Barbados. We have clients all over the US. We have clients all over Canada. They are done virtually. So, yeah, wherever you are, it's not a boundary. There's not a limitation.
Hmm.
So, yeah. Anything else you wanted to add, Amanda?
No, I think that's it. I love sharing these wins and I'd love to share some more. So please reach out to us. We'd love to help you. And I'll leave it to you to close us off.
Well, I hope you found this valuable. Thank you for listening. As I said, if you have any questions, reach out to either of us at any time. We'd be more than willing to, have a conversation with you. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I'm Kate at
Uh,
Align Natural Health.
I'm Amanda. Sorry about that.
Have a great day.
Have a great day, everybody.